to a show that we didn't think we were going to do, but all of a sudden we got very excited about thinking about doing it, and you came up with a good idea for this show, which was what?
What I'd like us to do is like diarise it. So, you know, you're going to get our impressions as we go through the game and see if they change over time, see how things develop, how things change. Because, you know, when you play a game in the Souls oeuvre, things tend to change as you play.
And the idea was to just glue these together in one episode. But
do like half an hour, half an hour. But I don't think it's going to work, no.
If you're listening to this now, it's not really worked. And the reason
we're calling it 50 seconds in.
The reason is that we're pretty excited about this, and we didn't think we were going to be, or that's probably a little bit unfair to it, because there was a large degree of curiosity around it, but it's fair to say this has lit somewhat of a fire underneath us, and moreover, the reason that we're going to be putting this out now is that Immortal Unchained is receiving no press, none whatsoever. There's been odd little bits that have cropped up. Sunlight Blade put out an amazing video at the weekend, which everybody should watch because it's 30 minutes of super detailed thoughts on the game. But the game deserves far more than it's getting. So let us take it back to, because you what.
Do you want? Should we? The first crumbs.
Yeah, it's because you told me about this one.
I did. Yeah. Do you know what it was? Right. I'll tell you where I saw it. So, so you know when you're browsing YouTube and you're sitting there and you're clicking through and you get an advert, you're like, yeah, fuck off. 5 seconds in, you hit the skip button as fast as you can. So I don't know what took me for this, and if I hadn't done this show probably wouldn't be here. But I was just sitting there. I was trying to watch a video, probably a Game Grumps or something silly like that. And the trailer starts. It's like, oh, that looks weird. Like, you know, it looks a little bit Destiny. Like, that sort of space, grand, weird looking thing. I'm like, that looks weird. And that character's quite buff looking. That's odd. And I kind of sat there and thought, I'll give this a watch and, you know, let the trailer up. It was about a 2-minute trailer in the end. I was like, I got to the end, like, what the fuck is this? Like, it looks like a Destiny Dark Souls game. And I hate saying it's like so-and-so does so-and-so. But, yeah, like, Can we dial that back a bit? Because the choice phrase from that, and I'm pretty sure that that's the way that you originally pitched it to me, because I hadn't heard of it, was, what the fuck is this? And I don't mean that in the bad way, but I like the sort of stuff where you look at it and you go, I can't quite get a measure of that, but something within me's staring. Also, where did it come from? It's out in 2 weeks. What? Like,
was it?
It wasn't long ago I saw it. It was very recently, and I've heard no press about this whatsoever.
Because when you spoke to me about it, I'm sure we were probably on something like Destiny, or we were definitely on a multiplayer game. And,
it must have been Destiny's, yeah. And I think I just told you I saw something weird.
Yeah, because I brought up the initial screenshot, and I can see where you were coming from with the Destiny thing. So I was like, yeah, I can kind of see that. I mean, but afterwards, I don't know, just super curious. I looked into it as much as I could. It seemed interesting, but I couldn't quite get a measure of it. And I dived in like early morning when just before I started an early shift. I dived into a few Twitch streams trying to find it, and there were a lot of European streams and this one sort of quiet American lad that was playing it, and I was like, I got a little more of an idea of what it was, but I was sort of staring, just going like, I still don't quite know what it is. But I mean, my interest was peaked to the point where I said to you, like, I'm going back on Games Rental, and I want an opinion on this, and I spoke to Brad Galloway. And he'd said he played a little of it, but it hadn't clicked. Likewise, games critic Mike Susky was reviewing it, and sort of seemingly reluctantly on his part, he said it wasn't really moving him.
Yeah, didn't work for him.
And then there was no movement on the rental, sort of all the copies were out. And I spoke to Brad and I asked him if he could put us in touch with the devs who were kind enough to provide us with code. So from this point in, consider us little more than paid shills, if you will.
Just corruption.
But...
Oh, feels good.
Deep breath on my part.
Hang on, wait.
Wait,
prepare, because CJ's going to say something now.
You know when something really, really seems like your sort of thing, and then is?
Yeah!
Like far more than you imagined, where references are firing in like 1-0, you've got a knot in your stomach, there's kind of glitter in your veins and things. There's been a fair bit this year that I'm told are AAA classics that have just left me cold.
Wait, you said that like a trademark. Say that again.
What?
AAA classics.
AAA classics. Sort of, there's a real feeling that around a lot of... Well, I can think of a couple of games in particular that have just ballparked the reviews and sales and everything, and I played them and they felt like the Emperor's New Clothes. Pretty as anything, but the stuff that I played just did nothing for me, and there was nothing drawing me back.
That's amazing. Spectacular, almost.
And yet, here comes this plucky, ambitious blighter that's been a joy to play. It's just out of nowhere from a tip from you. And
it's my turn. It's happening in reverse for the first time, I think, in a long time, if not ever.
And you were a bit freaked out because when we got the codes through, and I wasn't. I played my bit, and I wasn't quite sure how you get on with it, and I didn't know if we were both going to keep our powder dry until we came to the show. But we kind of both burst on that front and just ended up talking on Twitter and just. I think there was maybe a bit back on sort of Destas when we were having brief chats on it and stuff. But I'd say to the listening audience, if you remember old From Software, back before the buyout, back before Bamco and way bigger budgets and expectations, the plucky bastards gave us something which turned my life around, and that was Demon Souls. And Immortal Unchained is not your sparkly, crystalline, overthought AAA Fabergé egg. It's this beast with heart and quirks and flaws and brilliance, and you can tell the devs are just all over the bloody thing. Like it seems like a labour of love. I'd say don't go in expecting Souls, except think Demon Souls.
That's the closest one. That is. I was trying to put this together myself earlier. I've actually written notes. Like again, because I've been sort of picking things out of the Twitter chat, and part of the reason we wanted to do this is we're doing this now is because we were talking about it over Twitter so much. Like, we are burning good podcast here. We should be talking about this with words.
But I wanted to tell other people about it, especially because yes, I wanted this conversation 100%. This game is getting no press, and it's great. And likewise, you are seeing elsewhere a few sort of opinions that are people that haven't clicked with it or have put it down or it's not for them, and that's 100% fine. And I can be a contrarian bastard at the best of times, as you will eagerly admit. But
shoot me! I survived the Bloodborne incident.
There's something here. But yeah, you were saying.
Yeah, like when you were saying about how like the closest thing it feels like is like a Demon Souls. That is exactly what it feels like to me. This Immortal Unchained feels like weird experimental PS2 / early PS3. That's what it feels like.
Not in a bad way.
I mean that in the best way, because I love those kind of games. Like, you've got your Demon Souls, to pull a game at random. Folklore on the PS3, that Irish-themed RPG with waggle controls. Weird as all shit, but really out there in its own thing. Most of what came out, sort of the AA stuff on PS2, which I'm sorry, I'm just about to burp, but I'm okay. I've held it in. I'm just so excited about the video game. Stuff like, oh god, let's pick one, Primal or Gungrave, or like weird stuff that you would never get these days because you just don't get those sort of risks taken. You can't put out a game that's a bit odd unless you've got a property or something behind it. You can't just throw it out there and expect to make money.
I think it's more difficult for those games to get a foothold in the market because they are up against like games with staggeringly higher budgets compared to what's there, and
long tails as well, because you pick just to pick out a game at random, your Destiny, you put a few hundred hours in that if you're going to be into it. Like that's a lot of hours to take up, and you've got to be something pretty important to sort of take away from the compulsion. I mean, we've this year ourselves slipped into like your Monster Hunter Worlds, your Warframe again, your Destiny 2. These are huge games. These are like, you play them every night and you might get somewhere games. Like, they're not the sort of thing you do in a weekend and put away again. Like, they're large games. And to kind of take attention away, like, these days I'm not buying an awful lot of games, but the ones I buy, I'm trying to get the most I can out of them. I'm trying to get the money's worth. And that's why something like Monster Hunter or Destiny works for me, because I can get hundreds of hours. I can get a few months out of one game. And I think for an odd sort of, not indie, but like, a smaller studio to put something out that's got a bit of more of a AAA aspersions to it, or like aspirations, sorry, is the word I'm looking for. So it's trying to be something a bit bigger than, I think standard 20 quid indie game. Yeah, it's really brave.
Something about wanting to support that as well. I remember when Demon's Souls hit in Japan, and there were people that had imported it, and they were like, oh my god, there's something here. There's something that I can't quite put down. I can't quite fathom, and people couldn't figure out quite what they were talking about. But the hype built, and then obviously that hit America, and then that came to Europe and stuff. But from as we know it, developed out of that ambition, and the Demon's Souls was flawed, but there's still something very unique about Demon's Souls in the with the tale of all the From stuff that's come after it, and the way that I'd then pitched this. I mean, I was saying like, think Demon's Souls with guns, yes, but think that very heavy methodical quirk that came with Demons. The strategic heaviness of the combat, of balance, wondering if you could hit, if you should block, when to move. Demons had sort of a very physical human weight to it, and it's still my favourite combat in all of the games. So now think weapons. Weapons, you have to be mindful of your bullets, where you stand, and when to reload. But the enemies also have this. They have to find you. They have to reload. It's this sort of cat and mouse from the shadows. I mean, I'm the marksman class, which means I have a sniper, a pistol, and a melee weapon. One loads slower but does more damage. The pistol's quicker but does less damage. The melee weapons leave you open but can save you ammo. So if something's in the distance, you might try the sniper, if you have the bullets for it, obviously. If something's running towards you, maybe pistols, let it in close with a little bit of health left, maybe take it out with swords if you're running low on weapons. But you can also de-limb enemies if they're close enough, like in Dead Space. If they're near you, you might be able to shoot the weapon out of their hand, or shoot off their knee so they keel over and drop it. But yeah, the atmosphere, I'd say there is maybe a little Dead Space.
I'd agree with that, yeah.
Demon's Souls has got that kind of somber atmosphere anyway that's just, I still can't quantify. But, I mean, what class are you playing?
We'll talk about character creation for a bit then, because this is a good place to slot this in. I've picked the Mercenary, which is the kind of default 9 across every stat. And the game has, your soul stats, but they're slightly different. You've got finesse and perception, which are about, your melee, your simple weapons and your fine weapons, and it's like your precise weapons. So I think for you with your sniper, I think perception is quite a good stat because it'll improve your sniper rifles, I think.
I'll go through all the classes in a minute. But
I've picked Merc because I wasn't sure what I wanted to do. And I thought, well, I'm going to pick something right in the middle. Plus, it said it came with hammers. I'm like, well, that sounds fun.
I did wonder if you'd go for that. I'm thinking of how you were with Monster Hunter. I was like, there's a hammer in this boy's soul. Actually, in Dexter's, I think you might.
Yeah, exactly. They call me the hammer, the orange hammer of justice. So I picked the mercenary because it comes with literally flat stats across the board, 99999 all the way across, and it meant I thought I'm going to pick what I want to do. I'm going to see what I find, see what I want to play with, and kind of push a different direction. And had I picked another class, I might be pushing a different direction with my stats right now. But I chose the mercenary to give myself a bit of freedom. And the character create is really good as well.
It really is, and that's a surprise because you look at the cover. And you've got your God of War style boy on the cover, but I didn't realise until I saw that Sunlight Blade video that there was a full and pretty robust character create, and it's quirky as out.
Yeah, and you can be a buff man or a really buff woman. I like that. There's not a great deal of difference between them, really. I mean, the woman has strapped down front, but other than that, they're basically very similar.
Yeah,
I thought anyway. Like it's it's kind of very. What am I thinking? Rogue Trooper in that way. That's sort of. Well,
like this was something that I said to you as like my my pitch. If someone was asking me what it was like, I'd say it puts me in mind of Disney's The Black Hole, which I have a huge amount of affection for, but. In atmosphere, particularly on the first level, but in the way that the enemies look as well. But also, I said to you, like, this huge 2000 AD Rogue Trooper feel in this.
Definitely.
And you, when I said it to you, just went, oh, God, yeah.
That's what it was. Because it was on the tip of my tongue for ages. Like, what does this remind me of? It's driving me up the wall. I know this. And it's like, it's obviously that. And, you can be Rogue Trooper or Venus Blue Jeans. Like, you can be a buff blue person. If you want to be a blue person, you can be a blue person. There's no facial movement. Like, the face is always going to be the same. Lots of hair. Quite a few hair options. Quite a few beard options. You can give your lady a beard if you really want. Like, they're not weird about it. You can just do what you feel like. You can kind of apply, instead of adjusting facial features, you can apply, like, face ornaments, I guess is a good way of putting them.
That's a good way of putting it. There's like prongs and masks and like clocks on the side of your head, and
I've got giant metal sideburns.
Yeah,
down the side of my face, and again, different hairstyles show off more or less of that. And there's a good bit of stuff in there to come up with.
How long has it been since you've been a character creator and you've gone, oh, that's really weird. Oh, that's really weird. Oh, that's really weird.
Yeah,
you're just going through, and I could not decide which of these lovely weird bits that I wanted to use. I twatted about for such a long time in that character creator, just not quite being able to put my finger on like whether I was going to go with certain facial adornments or even the mixture of the colours on my kind of computery tattoo robot design things on the front.
Yeah, I had real difficulty choosing the two tones my hair wanted to be. Really difficult. I've gone with orange and green in the end because of course I did. But like, it's which way around do I put them? Do I make it black in there? Do I make it white? Do I make it orange and white or green and white? What do I do? Oh no. Do I change the hair completely? Oh no, now the face ornament looks wrong. I'm going to change that again. Oh no, that tattoos look wrong. I've got to change the colour. And I actually fucked up. I thought I'd changed my all over body tattoos to red and they came out like a light blue and I've ended up looking like some sort of ginger Braveheart.
What does your character look like? Because as soon as you showed it to me, I was like,
and Laura had said the same thing
it as well.
Yeah, from the back, like, and even from the front, running around because it's got a little scarf around the neck. Looks like fucking Soul Reaver.
Yeah, how about that?
It's brilliant.
You've essentially created the Soul Reaver sequel that you've always wanted.
I got
inadvertently in a game that you were quite curious about, didn't know a lot about, and then we both kind of folded into. Figure out what it was.
Sort of flopped onto, yeah. So that's
but
what
how
I did.
neat as well is it to go into something where you've not been drowned in hype and you're sitting there in the menus and you're going like, oh right,
yeah.
Or you're going into the level and just going like, oh right.
That's a really interesting point because like I found this year particularly, I've kind of, apart from God of War, I think I've kind of avoided a lot of the bigger releases. Like, the Spider-Man, like, it looks fine, but it just looks like a Spider-Man game. And I'm sure, the swinging looks great and it looks fun. It's like lots of heart in the story, but I don't think I need to play it right now. I might play it in the future, but there's so much stuff coming down the pipe soon that I'm really up for. Like, the new Assassin's Creed's coming soon. The new Red Dead, which apparently, right, the horse's bollocks get bigger or smaller depending on the temperature.
That's good to know.
That's ridiculous.
Glad you're happy with that one.
You can look at, apparently, I'm not sure if this is real or a joke, but apparently you could look in a mirror and call yourself a piece of shit.
Yeah, I heard that.
Yes! So, like, that's what I'm hoping for. So a lot of the other... Yeah, so cycling back to the point, like, a lot of the stuff that's come out this year that's been kind of quite hyped, like, like your Spider-Man, it's just missed me completely. Like, everyone getting... And this is going to... Again, we're on the right show for this, but... Everyone talking about Sekiro, getting really excited for it. I'm not asked about it yet. I don't know what it is. I've watched the video and I'm not asked.
But you know that's going to hit you all at once when it gets here, that you're going to play it, and that's when it's going to reveal itself to you.
But I've been enjoying a lot of, like, smaller games. Like, you're fucking... Like, I'm excited about Guacamelee 2. Like, I'm excited about that video game. Like, I was excited to play Yakuza 1 this year. Like, that was amazing. I had a lot of fun playing. Or was that last year? I'll check the game.
On PS2, that was last year, wasn't it?
Oh, God, yeah. Because, So that's your annual reminder, by the way.
Yeah, I will send that through.
I still want to play Yakuza 2, and I'm not going to play the HD version. I'm not going to play the HD version. I want to play the original.
Back on track.
Back on track. So, like, hype misses me a lot these days. Like, I find, if anything, like you, I'm becoming a bit of a contrary bastard. Like, I'm like, not really that fast. Like, not really that fast. Oh, this is coming out. Meh. I'd rather play something, that I pick, that I could have my own. And that's very kind of... almost selfish and no, look at me, I'm not playing what you're all playing, no. But that's how it feels, I don't want to be told what game I have to buy this month. Like, I want to pick it for myself. If I do want to play, just to take an example, Spider-Man later down the line, I probably will. But that leaves me open for something like this to be like, that's unusual.
What surprised me in this was I wanted my own opinion on it. I kind of... Like I say, I was going along and I was getting more of an idea, but I still didn't know quite what I was expecting. What I didn't expect was to sit down and this kind of knot in my stomach, this sort of fire in my chest, this sort of glittery feeling in my veins, where it was just like this desperate uncertainty as I went along, like really getting caught up in the atmosphere and where things were hiding. And what I was going to do, and the methodical way that I used the guns, or the way that I moved, or the way that I hid. There was something that, and even when I died at certain points, or there was this feeling of I've got to get, I'm straight back on, and I don't know. It's sometimes the best things are those that you can't quantify. The ones where it's just a feeling, and that's how I felt sort of playing it.
Yeah. So So I because I know you said what guns you use. I'm using big hammers, but we've changed that. But I'll tell you more about that later. And I tended to settle into a shotgun and a machine gun. I didn't like the pistols. I didn't quite find them too good. I settled into shotgun and machine gun combo quite quickly. I picked up quite early one that does acid, so you can lay a little cloud of acid down, wander off, and then the enemy just dies by itself. You can go do something else.
Oh, cool.
It's pretty neat. The shotgun I've got has a power attack, and we'll get here in a minute, that unloads every bullet it has in one go.
Oh, my word.
So you can stand behind a big lad and be like, where's your weak spot? Blam! Bye, big lad. Nice to know you.
Oh, okay.
It pops all 6 bullets at once, yeah.
So there's genuine differences between the two classes that we've got.
And the guns. Yeah,
and so clearly...
And different guns have different powers.
Replayability, I'd imagine, between... Because I was wondering this when I was looking at all the classes and thinking, like, how differently do you play?
Yeah,
but
the best way I can say it is, like, in Dark Souls 3, when weapons have their weapon arts, where they can do certain things for magic damage, it's almost exactly the same as that. Like, every gun you've got has a special power that takes energy and bullets to use, or sometimes bullets, sometimes not. But you have an energy bar to do stuff that's not just shoot the gun or hit the guy with the stick. Like, you can do other stuff with it. You're not kind of limited to pop out, shoot, pop back, pop out, shoot, pop back. You can get a little bit more creative with it. And I found that quite interesting. And I was playing with every single power on every single gun until I found the ones I liked. Like, let's try this little pistol out. Oh, no, that's not good. Oh, the power's quite good, but no, it just moves me a little bit. I'm not up for that. And I think one of them has a little shot with a step back, and I did kill myself with it. I stepped back off an edge like a dumb fuck. And, you know, that falling off ledges was a big part of my early game, because I wasn't really paying that much attention to my feet. But yeah, so I kind of tried freeform, and I've kind of settled into a very strength-heavy playthrough now, because that's just the stuff I wanted had strength requirements, so that's what I've leveled up. And that's where I've gone. And, you know, if there's a way of changing it later on the line, I might do it, but I'm quite happy where I am right now. So what did you think about the opening cutscene, then?
Well, I'm going to go through my weapons first.
Oh, okay, sorry, I thought you'd already... Okay, go.
Yeah, so I've got a sniper rifle, which is good for taking things out at a degree of distance, but also the punch that it gives when enemies are closer, it can really do some damage with knocking the weapons out of their hands or really pushing them back. It's great for... There's a real feeling of, I can take you from distance, certainly over there, but if you're coming near, it does feel like you're firing a high caliber weapon at a very close distance, and you are impacting them with essentially like almost like a shotgun type feeling because of that velocity, and I like that. It doesn't feel like purely a weapon that's good for distance.
Yeah,
I've got my pistols. I've gone through a few of them, and the one that I've got now is doing a sort of energy damage. It's not quite the most powerful pistol that I've got, but it's got sort of a little purple damage on it as well.
It's good for penetrating armor and shields, I think.
Yeah, but which has been cool, getting used to it. Not really throwing myself too heavily into the melee stuff yet. It's one of those where, again, I tend to only use when there's a wandering enemy, like an enemy that's just going to try and do me in with a dagger, because they do wander towards you, just like shambling along, and you think like, you're not even wielding anything. I can have a go at you and just properly try and pop you. But yeah, I'll go through the classes.
Okay.
Because let me see, I've got them on my screen.
Ooh.
So firstly, there's Tracker. Trackers are swift hunters. Their flexible carbine gains increased effective range from its tactical scope, and their daggers strike fast and effortlessly. Their training and innate aspect pattern allow masterful weapon handling for minimal load times. Then there's Vandal.
That's Speed Boy.
Yeah. So
worth noting as well, before you get into aspect pattern, is a thing you can apply to your character, like a buff you can choose. Like a mod, almost, I would say. Like you can choose, I want to have this, that, or the other. And everyone starts with one interesting one.
Vandal. Vandals are masters of the art of destruction. Their defender rifles are fitted with grenade launchers to blast groups of enemies, using cleavers to finish off any survivors. That's war poetry. Yeah. They are nimble enough to avoid danger, and their innate aspect pattern makes them resistant to fire and explosions. That's pretty cool.
That's kind of handy. For when you're rocketing things and you're 2 yards away, that's quite handy.
Raiders are fierce killers. They favour close-range tactics to dodge around enemies to strike from weak angles. Their deadly shotguns cut through flesh and undead cortexes with ease, and their axes deliver the finishing blow when necessary. Their innate aspect pattern increases critical damage. Then there's Wanderer. Wanderers roam the cosmos, enduring its trials. They equip themselves with simple clubs and rifles, oddly fitted with exotic upgrades to freeze assailants. They seem to have an unusual insight into lost technology, and their innate aspect pattern lets them regain health as their enemies perish. Oh, that's kind of neat.
I nearly picked that one. I was so close.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. So the next one's the one that I went for, which is Marksman. Marksmen excel at long-range combat. They use accurate rifles to acquire targets from far away and fire at critical spots, and a set of swift swords for backup. Their innate aspect pattern makes them even more deadly at long range.
Basically, like, that's the U class. I'm over there.
Yeah, I thought I might as well sort of tie into my love of bows in other games.
And not being 100 yards of any enemy.
Yeah, but in this game, it's not just
doesn't make it. Yeah,
you can't really just pick things off at distance because it plays with you more than that. And also, again, like you've got a slow firing rifle. If you've got some big lad with a massive shield, let's face it, in the middle of that first level, there is a big lad with a massive shield, and I love the fact that you were like, right, I'm going to target your head, and he just puts his shield up.
Yep.
And you might get a shot in at his feet after that, but then the shield drops, and it's just he's got a measure of you, and he's still coming, and I like that. And then we've got Mercenary, which is the one that you
my
boy. Mercenaries are warriors hardened in the fray of battle. They favour close-range combat. Both their scattergun and hammers offer means to stagger opponents. Their innate aspect pattern and basic armour makes them resilient to damage. That is you.
That is basic boy. Stand in the front, hit him with a big stick.
Hurty tank boy.
Hurty tank boy. So
yeah,
we'll talk about staggering because that's kind of a fun thing. So enemies have like a stagger bar as well as a health bar, and if you can knock their stagger bar down, they'll stand there and they'll go whoa, whoa, for a second, which is when you hit them with your stick.
Yeah.
So pap 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 pap, whoa, and smack like BioShock, the 1-2 punch.
How are you with the methodical nature of the combat? Because obviously you're playing a completely different class to me.
Yeah.
And we've just run through all of those classes.
Yeah.
So
I struggled at the start.
How do you feel about it?
I struggled at the start. I was trying to play it differently. I was trying to play it like a fucking melee game, wasn't I? So I was trying to hit the thing with a hammer, like, haha, I've got hammers. Oh, I'm dead. I've been shot 7 times. Oh, okay, try that again. And I kind of took me a little bit of time to get into like the feel of it. I would say I sort of died probably 6 or 7 times in the tutorial bit, and then a few times against the boss at the end of the tutorial before I really found it. Even though the game tells you explicitly how it works, like with the power attack, where you charge R1 and you shoot a power attack off, I didn't fully understand what that was and forgot about it for a lot of time. Like I wasn't using it, I was just using shoot and move and shoot and move and roll and shoot and move and roll, which was doing okay for the most part. But I found that once I'd found a gun I liked, I think that's a big part of it. Like I found a gun, I think it was a standard shotgun, in fact, that I swapped out my pistol with to a shotty. And like once I found that, I was like, oh, and like it started to make sense, and I started to find my rhythm with it. And again, I mean, I know you've talked a lot about the targeting of the limbs and you raising your gun. I particularly found that really, really difficult. I think the camera aiming
in the menu that can either do a flat lock on, or you can do an aim assist, or there's a snap lock on to an enemy that's then if you've lost target of them and they maybe come around the corner again, it can snap straight back. But I think I've kept the aim assist on.
Yeah, I've kept mine at default.
But I've not. The lock on just seemed too simple, and I quite like the ability to target limbs as well, and to do it. It felt like there was more skill involved.
Yeah. You see, I wanted to do that. I wanted to try that, but because the aiming, I don't know if it's a bug or it's designed like this, but the fine aiming. So when you hold L1 and go to or L2, go to your fine aiming. The camera rotates exactly the same speed as it does outside, so it doesn't slow down at all. You can aim better. So if you pulled out your machine gun, I was like, right, I'm going to shoot this guy's arm. Aim in, he's walking, so I go. I'll hit 1 bullet out of 30. Like it's almost. I found it almost impossible to, especially when bullets are limited, to kind of think, well, is that really worth spraying an entire clip of the 5 clips that I've got to hit maybe 1 bullet on an enemy, or would I rather hit the lock on and then juke around behind him, shoot him in his glowy weak spot on his back, kill him in 1 hit? Like that's what I found is my rhythm. Like I've been getting behind people, or if I've got my machine gun, I'll wear them down at range, then whiz in to finish them off with a smack, or I'll roll behind and unload shotgun bullets into the back as hard as I can, and that does amazing. I was really finding my place with that. Later on, we'll get there later when we get to the first real level, but even in the tutorial, I was finding that was working better than trying to do any of the free aiming stuff. I'm lock on everything. I can't do it without the lock on. It's just a skill I haven't got.
Okay.
And and I want to start shooting heads. I want to shoot arms and legs off because that sounds funny. But in practice, it's fluky at best if I do it. Like, I can't do it. Maybe it's my settings. Maybe I need to twiddle my settings a little bit. But for me, it wasn't quite there, which is a shame.
Yeah, there is a fair bit to play with there. Because I know I was trying odd little bits, because you can take that aim assist off completely and just purely use it to where you're targeting, and that adds another little push again if you want to add a flourish to a further playthrough, and just like, I'm leaving this purely to chance.
So how about you? How did you find the early tutorial area?
Well, did you were saying about the opening cutscene, weren't you?
Oh God, yeah.
Because I absolutely loved the artwork in the opening cutscene. I was really taken by it. There was almost like a degree of kind of, again, that 2000 AD kind of. I don't know. It looked like Jock had painted sort of a good chunk of it. Or what's the American equivalent of 2000 AD? The legendary one. I can't think of it. Metal something or other.
Oh, heavy metal.
Heavy metal, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah.
There was kind of a degree of that in there, but I was really taken with that artwork. And again, it told a story over the top, and I was staring at the artwork, and it seemed to be. I mean, again, it's going by memory now, but it seemed to be something to do with the world is ending, but there's spirits of darkness rising to protect us, and you're one of them, or something along those lines. And I was like, that's kind of cool.
Yeah, my feeling that I've heard, or the impression I've got, is that you're actually a bit of a wanker. Like, your character is a prisoner. Like, the start of the end of the cutscene shows you being unvaulted from literally a vault of a prison.
Can we just give credence to the fact that it plays out that opening section, and it gives you, your little bit of story and stuff. Then it sees you being involved in that prison, and you snap the chains, and you just hear, ah!
Yeah,
just this massive scream, and it isn't just a kind of, like when Akira was first translated, and like you've got the Japanese version, it's just like screaming Kaneda, and it was just like you got Kaneda, just like this really sort of, an actor leaning into levels and not really delivering it. This it's a proper scream. It's an Arturius has been defeated scream.
I knew you'd like that scream as well. I heard it. I was like, CJ's
the one
that
just sounded like he was screaming through time in Dark Souls. It properly gave me chills and ready to start the game. I don't know, the point where it's handing over control. It just seemed like the perfect moment. I was like, yeah, I'm fine with that.
I'm in. Yep. I think it sets your character up as a bad motherfucker pretty quickly as well. Like, if that's the prison they need to keep you in, oh dear. Like that's like 10-foot thick iron wrapped around you in an encasing tomb. Like, what did you do? It's bad. But yeah, I had the same thing. I loved the intro cutscenes. I enjoyed the scream was amazing. I'm still not quite sure I'm following what's actually going on, but that's what playthrough 2 is for, isn't it?
Because I'm rewatching sort of the opening cutscene now, and it basically said like that humanity is basically wiped out with this. Like the floors are flooded with poison, and humanity just disappears, and these sort of warriors of legend, these dark warriors of legend, sort of rise from prophecy. And yeah, that moment that you're sort of chained up, and like a lightning hits you in the chest, and you awaken, and that bursts into your eyes, and then that's the point where it shows you being unvaulted, and then that scream, man.
It's good, isn't it?
How did you get on with the scream? Was that one point where you were like, oh man?
Yeah, I was like, oh, we're in. Okay. With this character's really upset and probably confused and really upset, and felt good. It was good, well delivered. Like you say, it was a scream through time, and I appreciate that.
And it is you saying like the prison that you're unvaulted from. there are many, many, many layers to, and I like that slow drift of it just peeling away. It's still peeling away. It's different locks. It's different bits, and then snapping those chains and rising to your feet, and then wandering into the level. What did you think of the opening level? Because I know that Sunlight Blade wasn't fussed with it. He was saying that for him the game only really starts on the level after that, and that maybe it would have been better.
Yeah, I think the tutorial's a little dry. It definitely feels like Metal Gear Solid VR missions. Like, it doesn't feel like a proper place. It feels like a construct to test you almost. It feels like a gauntlet to run. And it kind of, I suppose, it is a tutorial. That's the point of it. But like from a, and I'm not want to be this guy, but from a lore perspective, like it didn't do much outside of being the place next to where you get unvaulted, like a part of the prison. It didn't feel like a prison, which is what I think it's supposed to be. Yeah,
I would go on a different tack to that, because to me it did feel like a prison. It felt like it was fit for purpose, and when you see things and artists have been incredibly intricate, and there's engravings on the wall, and there's lots of things going on. It felt cold, it felt soulless, and when I walked away from those chains, just to see that kind of reminded me a little bit of the movie Blame, or the manga, if you will, as well, where it's just this cold, stark loneliness, this bleak chrome and concrete, and you walk out onto that, you move out onto the walkway that slowly sort of folds and knits together, and you've just got kind of a distant light that you have no idea what it is in the distance, and it just felt kind of, I don't know, a bit alienish, but just I don't know. I that was where the atmosphere really came through for me, because it was within that coldness, within the bleakness and the shadows that were there, and very little light. The things that were hiding in the shadows or were there to get you didn't seem overly colourful in themselves. You could see maybe the weak points on the back, or you could see the glow of the eyes in the helmet. But a lot of the time, when something moved from distance, even if you could see something that was near you that you concentrated on, the sound effects and the actual atmosphere of the level, you'd hear like a in the distance, and you were like, "Where is that?" And you might just see like an eye disappearing round the corner, which is near something that's directly in front of you, and you might think, right, I'll take out that thing behind the post, and then I'll move to, there's another one behind it. Right, I'm going down there, and yeah, that just felt stark. And again, it ties into my love of Disney's The Black Hole, which again felt like a very cold and bleak sort of starship that I do dig that sort of stuff. It felt blissfully echoey.
Yeah, I mean, I enjoyed the ambiance. I just don't think it quite hit as a place for me. Like, I didn't feel like it was it didn't hit. It didn't hit as well as the next area did, for particularly,
Oh, Jesus Christ.
Yeah. So how did you find the first boss? Because I had some difficulty. The first who lets you out of the prison. Like, I had some difficulty here.
Yeah, this was one that I felt a bit bad, because Sunlight Blade in his video said he beat you first time, and I took ages. So the first boss, you walk into this room, and the door opens, and you see this thing in the distance that's just banging on a broken door to try and get out. And it's like a mental patient, and then he sort of turns round with this degree of something very inhuman, and he's got a massive gun that he tries to spray bullets with, and then he's got a run that he will do, which properly knocks you off guard and does huge amounts of damage.
Very junky,
and
yeah.
If this is something I like about the enemies in general, that if it gets you in a position where you're fucked, it will absolutely go all out to nail you because it knows it's got you. It's not like it'll back off and then wait for you to come again.
It's all right, mate. Reload. It's fine. You do that. You reload. It's all right. The best of three.
If you're knocked out by that run, you're more or less, unless you've got like staggeringly full health, you're more or less done, and it doesn't really give you a chance to top up your health either, because if it sees
takes
you doing
a minute.
that,
Yeah, it's not like boom health. You've got to sit there and stab yourself with a needle to.
I was trying to get in at first and doing sort of quite well with the pistol and trying to get around the back of it, because I remember Sunlight Blade sort of saying that was the way to do it. And then I was thinking, well, I've got a rifle that does much more damage. If I can get in around the back and just fire off one shot, that'll be fine. And I was getting knocked out, I was getting killed, I wasn't getting that shot in. And it was only really because I ran this so many times, and it was only when I took stock a little later and just went, hold on, has this thing got a stamina bar?
Yeah, that's when I noticed it. Yep.
When I checked that out, I was like, oh, I can see, and maybe this ties into sort of the Sekiro thing as well, but it seemed that every time that you might not get around the back to hit the weak spot, but every time you shot it in the front or in the head or whatever, it still knocked it back on its stamina bar.
Stagger bar, wasn't it? Yeah.
Yeah, and I really liked that. It felt like, even if it felt like I wasn't doing a lot of damage, it felt like I was pushing the enemy into a place where it couldn't do its worst. And that was interesting. And then I got into being able to do a Dark Souls type lock on, and rather than jumping and rolling out of the way, I could kind of shift to the side.
Yeah, it's more of a Bloodborne
and dodge it,
like shifty step.
And it was a case of keeping the distance, waiting for that run to come in, then dodging out of the way, and then trying to do damage. And once I figured that out, I got there sort of fairly quickly. But it was a case of, what am I not doing? And just really having to sit back and have a word with myself and just go, hold on, sort of read the screen area, figure out what the enemy's telling you without telling you it. And in a world where you've got bosses with like being hit by a tornado, or they've got multiple evolutions and multiple like health bars and that sort of stuff, I enjoyed figuring out a boss for its quirks and taking it down.
Yeah, I had a very similar run to you. Then it sounds like I think probably 6 or 7, 10 tops attempts. It wasn't 10, like 6 or 7 goes at this thing before I, like you, I had to take a minute and think, right, what am I not getting? Something's not right, because I was getting in, I was doing okay, and then the little so he does a move where he shoots a quick little burst of bullets, and I'll dodge that first one, and then he'll do it again.
But that can be to the left of you, or it can be to the right of you.
Yeah, and it hit me like, the first one had missed me. I go, I've got him, and he'd do it again, and then only when I realised he does them in threes did I ever start to make damage. Like, so dodge, 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 then shoot back, and again trying to get behind him, which wasn't going super great. But if I could keep peppering away and getting that stagger bar down, I noticed that it does regenerate slowly. But only quite slow, so you can shoot him, 3/4 of the way down, get your gun reloaded and full again, just do another sort of 5 or 6 bullets to take it down, then he goes to stagger. You can run behind him and unload the rest of the clip, rather than if you just go da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da, he gets staggered, but your gun's empty, you reload your gun, by the time he's reloaded, he's back up again.
If you go in when he's got a decent stamina bar, he will end you.
Oh yeah, he's
absolutely end you. And I like how that three hit burst that he does. The first bullet is where you are. The second and third bullet is where he thinks you're going to move.
Yeah,
and it can be either to the left or to the right. And I thought that was pretty cool, personally.
Really, really clever. I wish I'd remembered as well. I think a big turning point for me was the stagger bar and remembering I had power moves on R1. Again, because every gun is
could
different.
never quite
Because
get
I just
that off, I don't think.
fired it off, and it's like, oh, it's an instant stagger with the gun I was using. I think it was an auto shotgun, so I think its thing was barrage, which is like empty the gun, but it does a shitload of damage and a lot of stagger damage, like blah.
Oh right, okay.
And it would basically put him into an automatic stagger state if I could do it, but obviously I could only do it a few times because my energy is limited, my bullets are limited. So I'd hit the stagger, switch the other gun out, and then try and find his weak spot and get in a few shots for like way better damage when I could. The time I did it, like I kind of bruised it. I think I only used one health stabber out of the 3 it gives you. I even threw my grenade. The game gives you a single grenade at the start at least. I hope it gives you more later. You start with a single replenishable grenade, so you've always got a problem solver in your back pocket if you need it.
If you've got time to let it go.
Yeah, exactly. If you've got a couple of seconds, like after the stagger is a really good time to do it, so you can stagger him, chuck your grenade, then go pat, pat, pat while you've got a second, and chances are you can get him halfway to another stagger pretty quickly.
Because you can switch out between left and right on the D-pad. We'll switch out between
items.
Between the grenade and you kind of syringe, like your Estus essentially. Up will change your weapon, or you can hold left one. It's left one on the Xbox, and you will bring up a weapon wheel, so you can choose it. So that way, if you wish.
Yeah, I'm always up down to choose my gun. Like I've only got 2 at the moment. I think later on when we start unlocking more slots, maybe that the L1 will be more sensible. But at the moment, up down for I've just got one gun. Like I've got 2 guns even. It's one button.
As I was looking into this, I saw some pre-release footage, and the first boss on the pre-release footage was called Brute Revenant, and I love the fact that they changed it to Housecarl Invader.
Yeah. Great name.
Housecarl Invader is great.
I like, and it gives you that idea of okay, what's he about? Because Housecarl's very feudal, isn't it? It's very knightly. It's a very knightly sort of word to use. Like, oh, that's strange.
It's just really cool.
I loved it. I really enjoyed it.
You know, you walk in, you see Brute Revenant. It's just you've seen it a million times before. Housecarl Invader just sounds a little bit. Don't know. I was like, Carl,
spicy.
Hey,
yeah.
What?
All right, Carl.
Hey, I don't know what to expect with you. That's good.
He was in the house. It's Carl. But he's not allowed in. He's invaded.
No.
So once you do this, you go into an elevator, which to me felt like it had glitched slightly, but it was okay. Maybe it was just going really fast. The screen went a bit funny. I looked at what was that? Oh, okay.
Oh my god! And then you see that he's just like bolted you into space.
Yeah. I wasn't quite looking. I was like, whoa, did it glitch? No, it didn't. It basically shoots you into space. Welcome to the Immortal Unchained Nexus.
Do you remember how freaked out I was by this?
Yep.
Because we were on Twitter, and like after I took ages to defeat Housecarl Invader, and I was like, fucker is done. Getting rich, Demon Souls vibes. Oh Christ, pretty. Oh fuck, it is Demon Souls. And then you were like, yeah, I knew this was waiting for you.
I was waiting for that from you. I knew it. I knew it.
This is when I then sort of unleashed, like, mate, this game has tons of heart. I like that I can dead space disarm enemies by removing limbs or shooting weapons out of the hand. Game is pushing buttons. It's unsettling. It's fun to play. I like how deliberate my rifle is. I like to think about positioning, reloading, that they reload. And then, whoof, you've hoisted a winner on me here.
Yeah, I think I just replied with, I did it good.
You did it good.
I did it
This is very true.
good this time. So, yeah. The new Nexus is cool. It's Demon Souls. It's a fucking hub.
Yeah, and it's very. I like the fact that it's very Egyptian. It feels like a pyramid or a tomb. It's hugely spacey. It's really sparse. There's and this is something that
the Vex bits in Destiny, like that sort of very square. Space squares.
See that?
Yeah, yeah.
I like, and again, this was highlighted by Sunlight Blade as well. But I like the fact that the game rewards you for wandering off the beaten path, and even in this Nexus, this cool stuff hidden. Not just sort of little bits of lore that are there, but there are items. Just if you want to explore that thing, you're going to find some stuff.
Yeah,
So
the boxes seem locked by cerulean decrees, which are like keys, but I think you don't ever spend them. Like, you just get more of them. So it's locked behind, almost like a card key. It's like, oh no, you've got to have level 8 card key. It's like you need 8 cerulean decrees to get even this chest open.
Because this is another thing that we've not gone into, and you know, you've got one in this place as well, that you're going through the level and you get bits for killing the enemies, and bits for the equivalent of souls, and you will go up to an obelisk, and the obelisk is essentially your bonfire.
So a monolith, they call it, isn't it?
Is it?
I think it's monolith. I thought it was monolith.
No, one of them.
Big rock.
Yeah, but here, because if you get new weapons, you can't do anything with them until you get back to one of these. So there's been a lot of times where I've gone to somewhere and I've gone, oh right, I want to figure that out. I could probably do some more damage and then head back. And obviously you're going to be building up sort of your bits as you go along, but that's where you also sort of alter your stats, and all this sort of stuff. And there is one in this Nexus as well that you can play about with.
Well, it's the way with weapons, because you can't set it says they're blueprints. When you find a weapon, it says, oh, you found a so-and-so blueprint. So I think the monolith or obelisk or rock is crafting them for you every time you kind of touch it.
Oh, I like that.
Yeah,
that's a really good.
It's
again that feels sort of a little bit Stargate and a little bit Egyptian, and that's an influence I hadn't kind of clicked with, and I do love my my Egyptian and Greek myths and legends and stuff. So that veers into one of the things that I loved about Demons with Harryhausen and.
But yeah, not being able to select in the missions is good, because it does limit, like, you really have to think about what you're taking. You can't go, this ain't working, I'm going to switch out to another gun halfway through. Like, bullets are limited. They are finite. When they are gone, they are gone. You might have an ammo pack to restore it, but when they are gone, you done, son. You done. I like I like the look of the level up menu. I noticed something as well. I don't know if you've noticed this. When you hit the touchpad button to bring up your like inventory menu, have you looked up in the top right of the screen when you've done that at your bit counter?
I don't think so.
Because if you look underneath your bit counter is a number, and that number is how many bits you need to get to your next level.
Oh yeah, 100%.
Fucking brilliant. I saw that. I was like, what the fuck's that about? Wait, 2 another. Oh, yes, I know when I can go back and level up now. Because sometimes, you know, you're playing these sort of games, you think, is that enough? Is that enough? And you go back and you're 200 off.
Really amored with the Nexus when it was there, and the fact that you already have an open portal to wander into.
And a weird old man to talk to. A weird old man with space trousers.
There is a weird old man with space trousers.
The same space trousers you end up getting, it should be noted.
But because you went to the next level before me, is it called Arden?
Arden, or Snow Place, as I called it for a long time.
You went there before me, so what did you think when you first hit it?
I thought it was very pretty and very white, and I know that's a bit basic. But yeah, I pipped through the portal. I enjoyed talking to weird old man with weird trousers. And headed through almost straight away. Like I did a lot of my gaming in one evening. I did a lot of it in one go, and I headed through, and I was just taken aback by how it sounds really shit, right? How cold it looked. Yeah. It looked really, really cold. I know that's a really stupid thing to say about a snow level, but they actually sold it. Like in the same way
I like snow levels.
In the same way that kind of what am I thinking of here? Like Canehurst Castle looks like icy cold. This looks like fluffy, constant, wintry white cold. At least on the outside.
A real stark contrast to both the prison level that you're open with and the Egyptian like nexus that you're in at the start. This just feels temple. And then it subverts it a little bit as it goes along, I think.
Yeah, it gets more industrial and more internal. Like you're making your way into somewhere. For this, you're not kind of just walking around in snow for the entire time. The level changes and shifts as you go through. It starts with snow, and then it's kind of the outside of a fort, and then you kind of hack your way through the sewer bit and make your way up to the actual fort itself. It's quite a long level, actually. There's quite a lot to it, and it does have a safety bonfire in the middle. I like that the level, like past the visual point, you know, there's lots of like hidden secrets. If you go down a side path, you'll generally find something. Might it be a small item? Might it be a bit? It could be an enemy. It could be something. But there's always something there. So exploration is, really important to do. And the way the enemies are placed encourages you to look and to plan and think, right, I need to go that way and then that way and shoot him and get behind there because he's going to be shooting me as soon as I get off from there. Do you notice how many shortcuts there are as well in this first level? Because this level is shortcut pornography at points.
I'm still pretty new to this level, so I've noticed a few places which look like they can double back on themselves. Certainly the opening level, it's wonderful with the way that it kind of weaves in and folds back around. I like that a great deal.
This is, I think the level kind of is there's kind of three sections to this level. There's the snowy bit, there's the outside of the fort, kind of just on from the snowy bit, which is kind of really the snowy bit, and then there's the interior, which is kind of the second half or the back half of the level. And for my money, the interior shortcuts design is amazing. You go on these little loops, and you always end up back almost at the same place once you're back, and it gives you that in.
Neat.
Yeah, and there's even, I went on a side path quite early, so I saw some floor that looked walkable. And turns out it was, and you go around, you end up going around the back of the sewers and finding items, and you go up this ladder like, oh, I'm doing really good, I'm sneaking ahead here, I found a ladder, and you go up, and you're in the middle of like a dozen guys, and like, all right, mate, dead.
This is something I'd like to chip in with if you don't mind. That
chip away.
You're going through the blustering cold snow at the start, and then this kind of base emerges that it's almost like I just thought in many ways it seemed like if you got like a Death Star playset and you just removed the outer shell, it's this sort of multiple layered like fort type thing and when you walk into it, and this is something that Souls really hasn't done in this sort of way, that you walk into it and you might see someone over there, and then you move towards that person, and then there's someone in the corner. So you've got different levels this time, rather than them all being on the flat plane as they were in the prison level.
Oh, it's a lot more vertical. Yeah, there's more up down.
You can take those out, and then when you move, because I'm thinking of the level now, you move across to that little bit of water, and then all of a sudden you see enemies with a shield that they can shoot through the shield, but you can't.
Yeah.
So you're thinking, right, that shield seems to be straight on, so maybe if I can get around the side, I can get them. You move forward, all of a sudden you've got two enemies on another platform to the left. And then, so I was like, right, I'll get behind this corner, but there's somebody else that's coming directly from the right that maybe you've not clocked yet. And I on my second run on that sort of bit, I knew that guy was there, so I sort of ran in, got my bits, like backed up, saw who was coming. And I got round to this little post, and I was thinking, right, I've managed to take out the guy behind the shield. There's more shielded guys on 2 levels further up than that, but I don't think they can get me. And one thing that I loved was I backed myself into this corner behind a post. I thought I was all right. Took out one of the guys with my sniper rifle. One of the other ones is coming in closer, can clearly see me backed up. Never mind if it's behind a post. I'm going to grenade you because you're in a part where I can get you. And that again adds to this Demon Souls like paranoia of the enemies have this kind of clockwork deviance about them. And I like the fact, and this ties in again to the first boss, if they know that they've got you, they will absolutely kick on to try and get you. And it just means that there's almost like a paranoia as to where you are.
Yeah.
And
I like that they all behave differently.
You increase your understanding of dealing with those things the more that they do them to you.
Yeah,
you start thinking
definitely.
like, right, this is a good place, but they could do this.
Yeah. They seem sort of smart as well. Like, some of them will stay put and some of them will come get you. So you're trying to avoid the ones that are running at you, while the one that's staying put with the very large gun is firing almost like a gun emplacement at you, while you're dealing with the ones running up trying to punch you with a stick.
It's almost like...
And then, as you say, a grenade appears at your feet, you shout, oh, piss, you hit the wrong button and you get blown up, which is what happened to me several times.
It feels almost as if the runners are there to draw you out sometimes. And part of the distance and the pacing and the space between seeing them and clocking somebody around the, a little bit further on is, I'm going to dive around this corner, I'm going to reload, I'm going to be ready, I'm going to take out that guy because nobody else can get me at that point. But when you've got, say, two enemies that have both got rifles and are both shooting at you, and you're sort of nipping out behind a corner and you're like, boom, boom, and then you're sort of disappearing again, but maybe you're then going to try and draw their fire out and wait for them to reload, because I love that they've got the same mentality as you have. They have to reload.
I think a big part is the encounter design as well. Like, things are placed in tricksy places to encourage you to go out and get that guy. I'm going to go get it. I didn't see the guy to the right.
That level design is fantastic. Sunlight Blade highlighted it as well, so tip of the hat to him. So that was on my mind when I was going into it, but it certainly shows itself in this level in particular. And I feel like I'm a child with a playset with toys at this point. Like when I was a kid, I used to love it when my mum went out and I was all of a sudden sort of a couch would become like an ocean, or a set of shelves would become like an enemy base, or you build things around it. It feels like, I don't know, there's this sort of chunky playing with toys in the living room or in the garden, or I don't know. There's something that's, I've got a real childlike wonderment with this, and I had that with Demons, and that's this level's. I'm obviously not as far as you in it, but clearly there's more to show me in this level.
I've got a bit of that as well. It does feel very playsetty, mainly because, oh my god, the door animations. Yes!
They're really good.
Triangle, weird folding doors. Like, yes, please. I went backwards and walked through it a few times just to watch the animation because it's good. For me, like, it feels a bit like it feels like 1998.
Go into this, please.
Right.
I'm very curious because I know where this is coming from with you, and I know it's coming from a place of genuine affection.
Like, it's got that Soul Reaver chunk. It's got that chunky action figure toy. You bought. I had a Biker Mice from Mars playset when I was younger, and obviously, by the time it was 1998, I was 13, 14. I was growing it, but like, the levels and bases you can make look a lot like that, and the level designing games at the time were kind of these big towering walkways and dark dungeons, and everything was getting a bit dark and cool, and you had like games like Shadow Man and what was the one about?
Oh god, I can see the Shadow Man stuff in there.
Yeah,
god, yes.
And Soul Reaver, and what was the other one about the guy with the berserker blades on his hand? What was it called? Akuji the Heartless, there we go. Like, that sort of thing. Like, very kind of like grunchy, grimy comics. To the point where, and this is based off something else in real life, but anyway, when I was playing the other day, when I was grinding out the first level, because I knew we were going to talk and I didn't want to get too far, I was grinding through the level backwards, because when you go through the level backwards, you kind of take the enemy's advantage for yourself in a way. It's quite fun. I was listening to a fucking Eminem album just to put myself back in that mindset of, I'm 13. Yeah, and I'm going to do a song where it's saying, fuck you really and cool. Fuck this. And fuck, like, it was the first Marshall Mathers album I had on, because I've been kind of following the recent stuff he's been doing. It's been kind of entertaining. But yeah, I really enjoyed just like banging that on and just like, yeah, I am 14 again. Fuck it. Let's play this game about a glowy-eyed space Viking. Fuck it. Let's get in. I'm into it. And that's how it felt. It felt like 1998. It felt like official PlayStation magazine.
So it's interesting with Toadman Interactive as well, because they're the Swedish dev, and I didn't know this until I looked into it, that they recently worked on Warhammer Vermintide.
Oh, that's supposed to be very good.
Very highly regarded, yeah. Ooh. So they seem to be a developer that's growing sort of bit by bit, but there's a lot of talent on this. There's a huge amount of heart in it, and I don't know, the fact that it's hitting all these sort of childlike touchstones for us, and yet it feels, everybody's sort of spoken about that it is a Souls-like, and yes, there are the great things that are familiar, but it doesn't seem like a copy of anything. It seems like those elements are there, but it seems very much its own thing. and the amount of times that it's surprised me, it's made me feel like I'm not familiar with this. It's thrown me out of my comfort zone, and yet there's this real desire to kind of be better at it. And I love the fact that it's hitting into an era of games which were super special for you as well.
Yeah, like that was quite formative years for me. You know, those kind of crunchy, like, look how cool and edgelord I am, back when I was, you know, young enough or of the right age to really like click into it. It kind of hits that sort of look for me, like big burly space warrior men with glowing eyes shooting space zombies. Okay.
And
I mean that in the nicest, I mean that in the most wonderful way.
I made the 2000 AD comment to you, and you went, "Oh yeah," and I was like, "It's got a bit Rogue Trooper went to it," and you went, "Oh yeah," but you love 2000 AD.
I do. I've got like 3 full shelves of it now. Every time new stuff comes out, like, yes please, and like Christmas is always at least 3 or 4 2000 AD books that get got. You know, it's the main thing on the list that I want, because I genuinely love reading the comics so much. Like it's like pulp strange, you know. It is a good pull, right? It is a good pull. Some of the world design feels a bit Nemesis the Warlock.
You know, I was listening to a modern day remake by Matt Gray of the Commodore 64 Nemesis the Warlock game music this evening.
Okay.
when I was putting my notes down for this. So yeah, let's come back around. I can see
even
the Nemesis.
know there was a game. Oh god, I'm writing that down. Nemesis the Warlock game.
I can see that. I thought of a little bit, because it is big burly man or woman.
Imagine if a horse was an engine.
But I'd say this to you now, right? Imagine if Simon Bisley had drawn the character that you've got.
Fuck me, yeah.
Yeah, it's there. There's a little bit of sort of slaying to that world.
Yeah.
Like say my character, the way that I've got them, and this was completely by accident. I kind of got like a little bit of a sort of mohawk in there, but I was doing the colours, and I realised that with this deep blood red and this bright yellow, my character looked a little bit like the DC Comics character, the Red Tornado.
Yeah,
like the android, and I was like, oh yeah, there's no way that I'm shifting from this.
Yeah, I found it. I mean, I initially wanted my character to have the red tattoos, and they came out light blue. Now I've started playing like, no, this is my character. This is my guy. This is my lady. This is my one.
But the fact that the look is not just Soul Reaver, but you actually got a little bit of a spark in the game as well. That I know how much those games mean to you, and I'm glad that it's not just the visual and you kind of that being an element that you pursue as you go on. That it is a genuine feel that you're getting from the game as well.
Yeah, exactly right. Can we talk about something bullshit for a moment though?
Okay.
We'll talk about something that you know, because like you say, these games like this, like they're not perfect. They're a bit wonk. There are issues every now and again. You know, I find the aiming a bit iffy. Wasn't too enamored with the first level, right? Can I talk about the most heinous thing I've ever seen?
Okay.
Fucking floor spikes. I have not seen a single one, and every time I'm walking along, and this horrible circle of misery just bites my feet. Every single time.
I did get the thing when I was trying to get back to the boss on the prison level, and that I initially got too cocky with the laser lights that were like beaming up, and there was a certain point where I died and I lost something like 2,000 bits or whatever it was, enough, like more than enough to kind of level up if I defeat the boss afterwards, and I was like, oh, you idiot. The only thing that I can criticise for me personally at the moment is that the music isn't great. There's lots of mainly sort of moody in the prison level in the background and stuff, but the effects are spot on. And like Demons, I had the sound turned up, really listening for where things were and when they might be moving. And even if you got to a point where you're like, I think I know what's around here, and you'd hear like in the opposite direction, you're like, nope. Super back up.
There's a moment like that in the level you're in. I don't think you're far enough in. So I don't think this is a spoiler to say anything. I've met my first enemy that I absolutely ran like fuck from. The note I've written here is the back down. Like I was like, oh, what's up here? Oh, dear me. Goodbye. I'm out. I'm holding a level.
Is it the equivalent of that, the old school Monster Hunter run where it's the Sir Digby Chicken Caesar, where you're like, comedy run, yeah.
Yeah, it was. I just opened up a shortcut, so I knew where I was going. I was like, right, okay, well, I'm close to the. I nearly said bonfire. I'm close to the big rock. Like, I'll have a quick look up here. I'll see what's here. Oh, fuck you. No, you're twice as big as anything I've seen yet. Oh, that's a large. Bye. Goodbye. I'm out. Here's the thing, though. When I killed him, he stayed dead.
Oh, cool.
That prick did not come back. So I was like, how am I going to do this boss run if I've got to go through that prick every time? Because he was a resource hog. Like, I chonked a lot of stuff getting through him. But then seeing that he was blissfully not there later was amazing. And the boss of the first area, I'm not going to go too much into it because I don't want you to, I don't want to spoil anything, is quite good. It's similar in principle to the
Housecarl
Invader. That's it, yep. It's the Home Guard something, I can't remember. But I did it in one go. I did the boss of this area in one go. Partly because I've been kind of training myself on the way the guns work and that boss fight alone, I played the one in tutorial like 7 or 8 times before I actually got it. So I knew roughly what I was doing here with the stagger bar and like mixing in my grenade and kind of keeping my distance. There's stuff in this particular boss fight I was not expecting to have to do.
Because you are fussy with boss fights. I know you are.
I like a boss fight. I like a good boss fight. And I don't like a boss fight to feel like it's bullshit. If I'm failing on a boss fight, it has to be my fault. Like it can't be because the boss has 5 health bars and 7 stages, and each one gets worse. And you used all your health up on the first one. Well, you're fucked.
And it's coming at you like a tornado.
Yeah, exactly. This is again, like you say, it felt measured. It was. If it had me, it went for me. But if I had it, then hell yeah, I could go for it as well. Like it was subject to the same rules.
It feels like the same rules are applicable between you and the creature. Yeah, I like that. I really.
One more thing. So one more thing. Pay attention to the arena, because something was happening to me, and it didn't twig until after the boss when I looked around what was actually happening.
Okay.
I felt really stupid, but then I wasn't looking in that direction. I was looking at the boss the whole time. Sounds cool. Pay a bit of attention as you go in. Look at the walls, look at the floors, and there is something going on. It's not massive. Like we're not talking like Demon Souls Tower Knight levels of like there's 20 guys shooting arrows at you the whole time. But like it's not a bog standard empty square to fight in. Like there is something going on in the area. But once I'd done that, I'd kind of hit the next checkpoint, and that's the end of that run. So it's pretty good. And I decided, because I found a blueprint for I think a rare, which is like the 2nd or 3rd rarest of weapons. I think it's 2 up from the basic. Like a rare pair of like acid swords. I was like, they look fucking cool. I want those. Yeah. It's like, what's the stat requirement? 22 strength and 12 finesse. I was like,
squad goals.
What am I on? 12 and 9. Okay.
Is this where you start looping? Happily looping.
Lupin the 3rd. My note here I've written is, I've CJ'd.
Well done. This is what I do. I remember this conversation now because I am notorious for, and a lot of this ties into the hours that I work and stuff, but I'm notorious for like hunkering down in a level, like repeating a level, and then getting my stats up to the point where maybe I can use a particular weapon, and then absolutely causing carnage, like butter knife through everything thereafter. And you've gone and done that, and you've experienced the butter knife moment thereafter, and you loved it.
It's pretty good. I've got my acid sword now, and I cut something, and it gets acided, and I can just wander off, and it's not lots of damage, but it's enough that I can ignore it. So I can go bang, roll away, deal with someone else, and it's then potentially staggered from their hit as well, so it's getting damage while it's staggered. I haven't got to then think, alright, I've got to then turn around and reload because that one's getting damage secretly in the background. It's brilliant, because I didn't want to push ahead from where you were and had a goal to push to. It's like, well, there's no soul level to worry about in this. I'm not worrying about, am I doing myself out for co-op? There's no co-op in the game. It's a single player game, so there is no reason to not sit there and, like I say, I put on an Eminem album and grinded for like an hour and a half until I could do it. And by the time I'd, gone through it a few times, I can take that level to pieces without even using a health pack now.
But also, you're better at the game, and you're better with your weapons thereafter.
Yeah, that's where I really found the difference in the power weapons. I didn't realise the powers were different until I really started mucking with it. Because I was like, oh, I'm going to do my blast. Wait, what's this fucking cloud? What's going on here? And it's only when I went to the item menu and opened up the specifics, it has a section that tells you this is what the power is. Like, oh... and like when I upgrade my weapons, it shows me what I can do, like how much improvement I get when I do each thing. There's different.
Also, you can break down weapons, and they automatically go into being able to improve the weapons that you've got.
Essentially, imagine you took a standard straight sword in Dark Souls, broke it, and it gave you a Titanite shard. It's that. Here's some shit, smart. And it's like, well, now I can upgrade the stuff I've got without worrying too much about burning valuable resources. I'm gonna have resources. I mean, I've got something like 45 of the basic unit now, and it takes, I think, 11 to take a weapon up as much as you can in this early game, in this first level anyway. And I've done that to everything I've got. Everything I've got is now at +2, I think, which is good. Starts as crude, goes to flimsy, then good. So I've got good weapons across the board now, and it does make a difference. Like, the damage and the impact I'm making is better. And the fact that I'm learning these enemies and learning how to deal with their attacks and what to look for, and like there's these large guys with big machine guns that I know what to do with, and there's little ones that run up to you. I can deal with stuff now, and I'm feeling really confident going to the next area that it's going to absolutely tear me a new arsehole because I've got confidence.
So, it's the way that you're talking about this isn't the way that I've heard you talk about a Dark Souls game, and that's
for a while anyway.
That's what,
yeah.
No, but that's the level of specifics and the way that you're going into. Obviously, we're talking about like guns and snipers and things like that now, but I think this differentiates itself enough to stand on its own 2 feet.
Yeah.
And I personally, I want people to support this. I mean, it's not a £50 game. It's knocking around the £32 mark.
Yeah.
And some of those retailers are doing it with a steelbook.
Ooh.
Yeah. And I want to support this. I want to support the dev. This is why we're not waiting for the glued together developer diary, and that's maybe a good thing, seeing as how we've gone on about the our first few days with the game.
We thought this could have taken half an hour or an hour and 20. So yeah, that's a good idea. Yeah.
But remember from when Demon Souls was out, and you saw how the company blossomed from there and built and built and built. This feels like a company that are at their Demon Souls stage, and I would like to see them go further and go further and go further, because there's something here. There's some genuine heart and talent at this company, and I'm a wee bit smitten with this. I've been thinking about it a lot when I've not been playing it.
Yeah, same. Do you know what it is? I keep thinking, this game looks like, and again, and I mean this in the best way, it should be on the side of a van.
Oh God! On the what do you mean? Like on a
painting,
a fairground ride?
Yeah, like, and it's obviously just Terminator, and they've just changed it a little bit, but like it's. Yeah, I've got this guy with an acid machine gun and a pair of hammers and big glowy eyes in this weird techno fortress. That's on the side of a van.
Yeah, you don't need that as a picture. You just need that in words on the side of a van. Yeah, you're like, what is this? What is this that you're talking about?
I mean, maybe if I get like some cardboard and like draw like the front of a van and put it next to my TV, and then get a couple of like tins from the kitchen and lay them underneath the telly, it can be like playing the side of a van.
I think this game may have broken you, but I'm glad that you're happy. So we'll say sort of what any closing comments from you?
I like it. I think it's good. Yeah. Well, okay. Here's the thing.
too.
So I didn't expect it to hit this hard. I was worried, like, because I mean, when again, corrupt, we were sent our codes. Thank you very much. I was worried that I wouldn't like it. Because again, you said you got your code and you played it and you were really up for it. I thought, I'm worried if I don't like it now, what will that mean? Like, I don't want to talk shit about it.
We've had conversations about stuff before where we both, and Neo was one, where we came at it from completely different viewpoints.
Oh God, yeah. Like, and I wouldn't. I think
I'm fine with that.
Yeah, I think we always like. I mean, we've talked about this a lot. You know, we always try and come from honesty. Like, if we don't like a thing, we'll say we don't like a thing. It doesn't matter if we've been given the thing for free. If we don't like the thing, we'll say we don't like the thing. You know, I think the Neo episode we did proves that. I despise that game. I keep meaning to try it again, but I just can't bring myself to even download it.
And I loved it.
I know, and this is where we are. But like, this has really hit a sort of a feeling I haven't had for a while. Like, it's weird, and it feels like it's mine. You know, like the first. Okay, so here's my most recent time I can think of it being mine. When I played Dark Souls 2, I got a review copy like a good week and a half before anyone else got it, and nobody knew what it was like. I couldn't go on the internet. There was no guides. There's nothing. I had to work all that shit out myself. And that first half, up to about the Iron Keep, always still feels like mine. Like, that's my game. Like, I didn't feel that. Or again, Last of Us, I got that like a week early, and I played that, and it killed me, and I couldn't talk to anyone about it. And it was my experience. Like, I wasn't, you know, like, I'm not going to go out and buy, and I'm not trying to rag on Spider-Man, this whole thing, to go buy Spider-Man and go, oh, Jameson's got a podcast, oh, that's fun, and oh, look, you can webman and you can try on an outfit. Like, that stuff everyone else has got. This feels like something that we, and like, upsettingly few people are playing and clicking with. Even the ones that are playing it aren't clicking as much. You know, a lot of the things I've seen are not people. I think I've only seen one person on Twitter that I know of, Sentinel Plus, has been playing and enjoying it.
But I think that sometimes the way that you know, and by that I mean we approach things, are dependent on the touchstones that you find with it. I mean, you know, I said myself, like, you know, I was more of a Star-Lord guy before sort of 2000 AD, but I can see my love of Star-Lord. I can see the black hole in there, which I'm still a nerd for. There's, you know, I can see Demon Souls in there. The very specific touchstones that I've got that are coming to mind when I'm playing it, but it's not existing in nostalgia. It feels like something that's got that majesty of demons, that there's something that I can't quite quantify.
It's its own thing, isn't it? Yeah,
but I want to keep playing it, and that's why I don't want it to get lost amongst not getting reviews, or, you know, it's fine if some people don't click with it 100%. You know, we've even had those divisions between us with different stuff, and I'm respectful of that.
Yeah,
but the touchstones that it's hitting with me, and obviously you've got your Soul Reaver on top of that. You've got your PS2 stuff, all the stuff that we've glowed on about. I would like people to take a look at this, whether you rent it, see if it's your sort of thing. It's a less expensive game. It seems to be about half the price of most games at the minute. I'd just like to see this developer do well and see what they do in the future on the back of this, because there's talent there, and there's heart and there's passion, and I like that.
Yeah.
I like that a lot, and it's moving me. The game is moving me tremendously and giving me a feeling that I've not had in games for a good while. And it's not the sort of thing that I'm told that I should like. It's something that's just instinctive that I can't put my finger on. But this enigmatic feeling that's just drawing me back and drawing me back. And it keeps evolving to the point where I think I've figured out things, but it's throwing me into different circumstances. And I don't know. I'm in.
Well, I mean, the money they spent on that YouTube advert clearly worked, didn't it? So, again, this is all stemming from just, like, not automatically kicking fuck off on a YouTube advert. Might we be having this conversation if not for that? I don't know, because I don't think I'd have heard about this until then.
I think there's a degree of oftentimes I can see on websites, on stores and stuff, games that I'd not heard of, and for me, it's maybe not just dismissing them as, I've never heard of that. It's something, it might be nice to be a little more aware of the things that are around the periphery of the main media sites, because there's stuff that they, just don't go.
I mean, that's something I've kind of been thought about myself a while ago. Is like, because rather than getting stuck in the thing of release, and there are the big games that I'm going to buy. Of course I'm going to buy Red Dead Redemption. You can change how big the horse's bollocks are by how hot it is. Like, you need
to walk away from that. People are going to talk.
No, fuck it. I mean, of course I'm going to, because the first one that hit me so hard, I'm gonna get that game. Like, you can't stop me. It's happening. Assassin's Creed Odyssey is gonna happen at Christmas because it's Greek and it's Assassin's Creed and we back, baby. Like, yeah. But like, I've always wondered, like setting aside like a little, I don't know, £10 a month fund to buy something weird on, like, just to buy a weird game you've not necessarily heard of, but something that impresses you with a trailer, and give it a go, and just write that £10 off as like, if it's crap, then it's crap.
Yeah, because I think that when something feels instinctively like your sort of thing, you might even be ahead of any flaws that the game's got as well, because I don't know. Again, this comes back to like your old school sort of PS1, PS2 stuff, where there might be a few things that were a bit off kilter, but there's ambition, and there's stuff where you go, oh, it's really good. I like that. And even I'm very much like that in the movies that I watch. I'm celebrating old 80s B movies at the minute. I watched an Italian Western the other day, The Pistol for Ringo, which is my first Italian Western, which was phenomenal. And I like, I don't know, it's just fun to veer off the beaten track and figure something out that's unique and that's your own.
It's like the 2000 AD comics. They're not really like anything else that you can get at the minute. Like, you've got your DCs and your Marvels and, your other Image and stuff doing their thing. But for me, 2000 AD has always sat on its own, just to the side. Like, yeah, your superheroes are fine, but look at these weird comics about robots. Enjoy this pulpy weirdness. Like, and I found so many different titles in 2000 AD that I've picked up like on a whim. You've your Dredd, your Rogue Trooper, your Judge Anderson, your ABC Warriors, Robo Hunter. I picked up Bad Company the other day, about a bunch of sort of Frankenstein monsters and werewolves that are in a war, which is quite fun. Devlin Woe, which is about a vampire hunter in like the Dredd universe. Very flamboyant, very, very British, and just, it's like so odd. And all of it kind of, again, when you say that sort of Simon Bisley sort of art, like anything in that sort of era, like, I'll always look at it. And some of it's a bit shit. Like, don't get me wrong, some of it is crap, but it's at very least enjoyable crap. And it's got that feel like, yeah, I'm 14 again. Yeah. And that's where I got into the game. I mean, that's when I found Dredd. Yeah, my mum worked in a library when I was little. She was, I think I was probably 11 or 12 when I picked up my first Dredd comic, which was, the first thing I picked up was the fucking Apocalypse War storyline, where Dredd destroys most of Russia. Like, it's got some of the greatest panels in Dredd history in this one book. And I was like, and you read something, and like, I had this when I bought Metal Gear Solid. Like, when you read something, you play something, and your mind opens, and you go, oh, things can be like this now. Oh, and not to get hyperbolic, but that's what this game puts me back in the mind of. Not necessarily saying this is opening the door to a new sort of game. No, not at all. What I'm saying is it puts me back in that mind of that 14-year-old wide-eyed wonder of, oh, this is weird. Yeah, more of this, please.
So obviously there are a lot of folks that haven't clicked with it. Like I say, I'd recommend the Sunlight Blade video, because it will go into a little more detail as to what the game's about, and you class it. It's about half an hour long. It's fantastic. If we've piqued your interest with our enthusiasm, then please take a look. It is a much cheaper game. I'd be very curious to see how Toadman Interactive advance from this. We think there's something a bit special here that's moved us in ways not just of game, but on things that we've loved for a long time that are pretty special for us. So, which is, like I say, why this is out now rather than us gluing together a diary of stuff. But we will be following this up with
a part 2
about further levels and stuff.
Definitely, as we push forward, we'll definitely hit that. And I want to talk about it more. I'm looking forward to talk about this more. Like I feel like it's got more to say yet, and I feel like we've got more to see. You particularly have more to see, definitely soon. Like you're going to enjoy it.
So as a closing sort of comment, I mean, cheers again to Aidan at Sold Out Marketing, to Toadman Interactive for their amazing game, and a big thanks to Brad Galloway for being the amazing glitter glue between all of that.
He always hooks us up, doesn't he? Such a good boy.
He's a good lad, and he bats in our corner, and that's really appreciated. So yeah, thank you very much for listening. Cool. Let us know how you get on with it. Please get it, because we'd like to hear more people's thoughts and discoveries, and especially if it clicks. But yeah, thanks for listening, and we'll be back with another episode soon. Cheer, bye.
Goodbye, everyone. Corruption end.